Hello, everyone. Patriot 5. I know this is short notice, but I went out in that sun and I'm just not feeling 100%. Got some other things I need to do also. So I decided to do an early show today. Got a little bit of information. We're going to talk to the kids, but we're going to get started with the pledge and we're going to get started with the music. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, where the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt as love is there. God bless the USA. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, oh, from sea to shining sea. From Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, oh, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt of this land. God bless the USA. Next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Hello, Susie Q and Jeffrey. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the other 10 people. We have 12 people on here. And I don't expect a big crowd today, guys, but I went and picked blueberries today. And the weather forecast was not supposed to be very warm. We were only supposed to have a 82 with overcast. And we got out there in the middle of them fields and it was about 85, 86 in sunny. And it just hit me. That plus the fact I ate a lot of blueberries. But it is what it is. And my daughter, they're leaving for vacation in the morning at 4 o'clock. And the kids want me to come over and say goodbye to them tonight. So I'm going to run over there for just a short time just to spend a little time with them tonight. And I wanted to just do the show and just move forward and see what we can accomplish here. Excuse me. I'm looking for some things. I want to talk to the kids, and um, we had a little man, a little boogie, had his birthday the other day, and John has been sharing stories and pictures and stuff of him, and yeah, Boogaloo and Boogaroo and Boogs, and that I call them the four B's, four boogers, and that. But um, I was really hoping Ella would be on today. I thought she would be, but she was. I think she got a little bit wore out too. We was there in that field for a long, long time today. If you guys have never went and picked blueberries, that's a lot of fun. Plus, oh, I'm telling you, with the sun we've got this year, they are so sweet, unbelievable. I'm gonna make some blueberry muffins. As a matter of fact, I was telling Brandon, I think I'm gonna get some banana muffin mix and put the blueberries in it and have blueberry banana nut mix and even puts like some walnuts in it and that. So that's my plans. But Super Jimmy, I keep reading your post and you keep going on, and I really wish you'd go outside and play. I really wish you'd hang out with some people and do some things and be a kid, but you'll learn to do that when all of this happens. Patriot Wyatt Earp, Patriot Karate Kid. I was just thinking, I sent your mom something. I've sent her 3 or 4 things over the last few days, and I've not got any response, and that's not like your mom. Usually she'll respond to me and send me a message or tell me how you guys are doing. I hope everybody's fine. Patriot 11, you haven't been around for a long, long time. We're missing you, buddy. Still planning on getting that ranch. I was just talking to my grandkids today about it. Then we have Patriot. Princess, our queen, our ball player, who Patriot 7 is a ball player too, and he's wanting a net that he can hit into and a net that he can practice his pitch. And this year he was one of the youngest kids in the league. Next year he'll be one of the oldest. So, he's thinking he's got a chance. He pitched some games this year. And as much as I like baseball, I never pitched. I think I pitched 1 inning of 1 game in all the years I played, other than when I started playing slow pitch, and then I had a knack to get the high arc, and I was doing that. But I never really cared for slow pitch. I love baseball. But I'm trying to teach him how to do things. When he would pitch, he would pitch. And hi, Jana. We'll talk about your grandkids. But Haley, our princess, our queen, she's quite the little athlete, and they posted a picture of the family, mom and dad, and that. And I really would like to see that same picture with Jana and her husband in it also. That would really be a nice picture. I might even ask for an 8x10 if I got that, because
she had one up the other day of her and her
husband. When I get my new house and I build it, I am going to build a room where I'm hoping everybody here will send me pictures so I can put names and pictures up on my walls and have that. I'm really looking forward to that. But Hunter, her brother, a lot of people say, well, you talk a lot about Haley, but you don't talk much about Hunter. Well, that's because Jana talks a lot about Haley to me. And me and Haley have the connection with sports. And I don't know if Hunter plays ball. I know he's a good looking boy. He's a good kid, but RP is here now. Jana's here. I think Jeffrey and Susie Q I already talked to. Ron's here. That's good. We're getting a few people here. And Elaine's here. Elaine, yes, good to see you. But we have little Leona, little Elan. And I was talking to my daughter the other day, and I said something to her about little Leona, and she says, can you explain that to me, please? And I did. I explained to her what happened, why the little girl was named Leona. And I look up and I thought, oh no, I don't need this, because when I tell that story, I fight tears back to begin with that Mike's granddaughter would do that, name that little girl after my mom. And I fight tears back a lot because I'm very emotional. And I look at my daughter and she got tears running down both sides of her face, because she never had a grandmother on my ex-wife's side. That lady died heart-wise with not, like in the Wizard of Oz, she didn't have a heart, so she truthfully died probably 100 years ago. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't pick on her, but no, she died of cancer 18 days before I got married to her daughter. I don't know why I ended up getting married to her afterwards, because the purpose is to make her miserable. So, the kids, I've heard some things that you're going to be really, really happy. You're going to be amazingly happy. And the kids, I want to talk to you about. You remember these Beanie Babies and these Thai little animals, the stuffed animals and that. Well, my daughter, I bought her. There was one set, and I bought it for her. And there's 4 of them. I got all 4 of them. I bought her the other ones. She has a Princess Diane TY doll or animal in that. She had other ones, and man, as soon as Patriots 7 and Patriots Super Gymnast said to them, she said, "Man, can we have them? Can we have them? Them are worth a lot of money." So her and my son was getting on the internet.
Janice is the boy, when he likes baseball and football and go fishing.
So Hunter likes baseball, football, and to go fishing. Sounds like Liam, my Patriots 7. Hunter, you guys are close in age. I mean, he's 9. I think you're what, 10 or 11? I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll have to get together and you and Patriots 7 go fishing. He loves hunting. He goes hunting with his dad. He loves to fish. As a matter of fact, when he comes back from vacation, me and him, if it doesn't interfere with football, I think she said you love football too. Well, good. Now I know about you. Hi, Savita. Good to see you. Yeah, football, baseball, and fishing. RP's here. Any news tonight? There's always some news, but yeah, I think I do have some news. But I'll let Sue and Bob talk first. I shouldn't have said that. But I am going to talk about some of that stuff tonight because I guess I got myself in a little trouble yesterday. I'll talk about that. But for the kids, it's just all about being kids. It really is. But I was telling you about my grandkids, Patriot Super Gymnast, Patriot 7, they're in my garage today going through their mom's stuff, and they're seeing all these stuffed animals. They started Googling them, mint condition, which the one set that she's got all 4 of, they've never been out of the package. So it's pretty mint condition. And they're saying that they're valued at like $60,000. There was one of them that she had, the Princess Diane in mint condition, is valued at $550,000. And my daughter's standing there holding it in her hand. They have a one with red, white, and blue flags all over it. And my daughter said, "Here, Dad, put this on your dresser. This is for you." And then they checked it.
Said yes, hunting too.
Hunting too. I said something about hunting. And then she, when she checked it out to see how much it was valued at, it was valued at like $30,000. Now, we have to understand, just because they're valued at that doesn't mean you're going to get that. But if something's valued at $30,000, you paid $5 for it 25 or 30 years ago, it's in mint condition. Even if you'd only get 1% of that, you're still going to get $300 or $400. So they was pretty happy with that. They took all them home. And I got a CD player in my car, and I've never used it because I don't have any CDs anymore. I lost all mine. And she's going through her stuff, and I had given her ABBA's Greatest Hits, and it was in there, and she gave it back to me. Hadn't even been opened yet. But I mean, how can you not like a group ABBA, that when you spell it frontwards, it's ABBA, and when you spell it backwards, it's ABBA. So the kids were just looking forward to meeting you, being with you, learning more and more about you, and just having lots of fun. I was talking to a young girl, kids. I was talking to a young girl, the one that I write, and she's a very, very beautiful young woman. And I said to her, I said, I bet you had all the guys after you in high school. And she writes me back and she says, no, actually, she said, I was a lot like you. I was very, very shy. I was very shy in high school, and I like to cause a little bit of trouble and push my mom to the limits. But the one thing I always had to abide with, actually a couple, she said, is to be respectful to the elders. If an older person walked in the room and you're sitting in a chair, you're having a family get together, and an older person walked in the room and you're sitting in a chair, you didn't let that older person stand. You stood up, and maybe you sat on the floor. You might even end up rubbing their feet or just joking with them and that, but you did not sit in a chair when an adult was in the room. You sat on the floor, and that's how we were. And she said, and also I pushed my mom to the limit, because right outside our house there was a street light, and if I wasn't in my yard by the time that street light went on, I was in trouble. I was grounded. And I said, well, that's the same thing I was. And I pushed my mom to the limit too.
I pushed her over.
Ron, on the other hand, never pushed mom to the limit on that. He pushed her over the limit. Hi, Tony. Good to see you here. CA, good to see you here. So that pretty much does it for the kids. I hope you guys have a great weekend. It could be a really, really, really great weekend. And I know you've heard it before. And the song says, I've told you once before, and I'm not going to tell you no more. But I'm going to keep telling you this until it happens. Because remember, in the show, The Little Giants, they was going up against the mighty, the kids who played all the time, the kids that had the really great park where they just had their little schoolyard type park out in the middle of a field. They had everything, the good gloves, everything to be a good team, the uniforms. But you know what they didn't have? They didn't have the heart of the Little Giants. And as the Little Giants coach them in football in this game, because there's other games, the Sandlot, where it's the same type of deal, but in the Sandlot it's baseball. But in the Little Giants, the coach, he was a mechanic. Why, his brother was, a nerd mechanic. And he had a daughter that was a tomboy. And his brother, her uncle, was the town hero. He was the jock in high school. He went on to play college ball. He was Mr. All-American. When he come back, he got to coach the good team, and the other kids didn't even get to play until the nerd decided to start a team because his daughter wanted to play. And it didn't matter if they played 100 games or 200 or 1,000. It didn't matter to these kids. All they had to do is win one time. Well, naturally, in the show, they did. And that's how I feel about what we're about ready to go into, kids and adults. It only has to happen. We only have to go to the Redemption Center once. We only have to get Doge money once. We only have to get all of that money, quantum financial money, once. And for the senior citizens, we only have to get that raise once. One time. Any one of them one time. It changes all senior citizens' lives. But if we only get the senior citizen money, it doesn't change anybody's life. And that goes perfect. That goes perfect into what I want to talk about as soon as I find it here. Because, see, there was something who sent it to me? I'm trying to figure out. See, because here is something the hat put out. By the time we're done here, some people will love me. Some people will hate me. Everyone's life will be better, more prosperous, and richer, and God will take me home. I said to Ron when I read that to him, I said, the hat's going to really leave us? And he says, it sounds to me like the hat might be God's son. Could that possibly? Think about this guy, RP and Jana and Susie Q. I was going to say Ron, but I know his answer. Tony, CA. I hope I didn't miss anybody. All of you that I've mentioned your names, or anybody in the chat right now, do you think it's possible that the hat is the son? Think about it. I was talking to Mary Ann last night when we was on the big call. She was on it, and I was getting play-by-play from her. And she said, you know, this hat, to her, just didn't seem like it was the hat that was in office that was elected in, you know, as the 45th president of the world, the United States. We've all been told that he could be leaving us. But then we've been told, if you hear he has, is don't worry about it. Don't worry about it because, see, he's in a safe place. Well, yeah, if God's taking you home, I guess you're in a really safe place. But, you know, I'm going to give my opinion on this. I hope he doesn't. I hope he stays to continue because we get what we're going to. There's going to be some terrible people. Now, as I was picking blueberries today, when you go to this place, they have buckets there with little plastic bags in them, and you wait for the hay rack ride. There's no hay on it, but that's what they are. But they got seats on them. And you wait for that to come pick you up, and then they take you, sometimes almost as much as a quarter of a mile out into the field where they're really ready to go. The blueberries are really ripe and ready to pick. And when you get to that destination, you get off. But before you get off, there's a little girl there, a worker, and she tells you, you can go in these rows and these rows and these rows. If you go on the right-hand side, she tells us, when you get to a certain point, you're going to see another guy turn around and come back or go over to another row. Don't keep going because we haven't opened that yet. Knowing me, I'm starting to tease her and joke with her and this and that. And when we got ready to go, I looked at her and I said, I hope I didn't offend you when I was joking with you and teasing you. She said, no. She said, I wish I had 100 more people come out here today like you because you made working here fun today. You had me laughing. You had me wondering, what is the next thing this crazy man is going to say? And I looked at my grandkids and I said, did you hear? This cute little girl just called me a crazy man. And when I was just getting ready to say it, I leaned down like this to my granddaughter, super gymnast. And she looked at me. And the little girl that was working, she says, hi, Justin. No, she didn't say that. Hi, Linda. She didn't say that either. She looked at me and said, I love your hat. I said, what's your name? She told her her name was Mia. I said, Mia, I'm going to get you a hat and I'm going to bring it out here. I'll drop it off with your bosses and you just ask them. I won't get it for probably a week or so, but when I get it, I'm going to drop you a hat off. Thank you. And I said, you know what? I know a guy that works out here. And she asked me who, and I told him. And I said, you want to talk to him? I know where he lives in Essex. I used to be his paper boy. I love that saying. I was a paper boy for my very first job and a paper boy for my last job. But anyway, she said, would you really do that? My granddaughter, super gymnast, said, oh, yeah. He's promised you one. He'll get you one. My grandson, uh, Patriots 7, goes, he gave him a bunch of kids on my ball team. They all think he's the greatest man out there. But I said, yeah, I'll get you one, and I'll make sure you get it. And I'll get her a hat. So I went to talk to this guy because he doesn't go out in the fields. He's more or less like a boss. He's an older gentleman. It's for the high school girls and boys that are out there working in the fields, showing people where to go. You know, they actually hire people to go out into sections and pick blueberries, pick them by the buckets, the big buckets full, bring them back, and then instead of selling them, you pick them for $3 a pound. You pay $5.50 if they pick them, which, you know, oh my God, were they good? So I go up this guy as I'm getting ready to walk with my grandkids to the park because they got a park there. Kids wanted to play. You know, they're kids, they want to play. And I looked at him. I said, hey, dude. I said, you know me? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, I'm going to bring you one of these hats to your house. Would you give it to her? He said, don't bring it to my house. I said, why? He said, don't bring it to my house. I hate that. I said, you hate what? And he called, you know, the SOB word. And I said, who do you hate that way? He said, you know who? I said, no. Because I said, look, it says, make America great again. He said, yeah. He said, but I hate the guy who's in charge of doing it. I said, oh. What did you think of Sleepy? What did you think of Dopey when they run the country? I thought we was a lot better off. I said, really? 500,000 children went missing, was abducted under their watch in 4 years. 500,000 children. And you like that? He goes, you ain't got proof of that. Took my phone and I put it right to him. And I said, really? This come from CNN. And they don't really publish things like this. I said, you follow Peds? You love them? And I said, so you're saying you don't love your country? I could do without it. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm coming into some money soon. And I tell you what I'll do. I thought we were friends. But evidently, you can have your opinion, but I can't have mine. So I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to be real nice here. Start packing your stuff because I'm going to come into some money. I'll pay for your ticket. I'll even buy you a little condo or something wherever you want to go. And we'll get you flown out of here and you never come back. Because, see, we don't want people like you in our country. So if you want to leave, we'll make it happen. I said, I always thought you was a pretty cool guy. But to hate your country because of a man who's doing nothing but helping you. I said, when he makes you a millionaire, you still going to hate him? He ain't going to make me a millionaire. I said, no, you're right. He's going to make you a multimillionaire. People, everyone here, it's the people like that we're fighting. The ignorance. The ignorance. And I have said for a long time, let's get on the beds. And me and Marianne discussed this last night. Let's get on the beds. Let's get healthy. Let's get everybody healthy. Let's get everybody, you know, to where they feel good. And then, before we go to the redemption centers, then let's go and let's get everybody either their Doge money or their quantum money, you know, the money that you got that you're going to get from your whole life. Let's get everybody that. And then we don't have to worry about when we go to a redemption center because no one's going to care. No one's going to know about the redemption center. But see, if we give them the Doge money, if we give them the other money, where they have money of their own, they're well off. They're going to change their tunes, but we totally quit selling at that point foreign currency. Because anybody who has not taken the opportunity to buy before them does not deserve to buy because we give you the money. They don't deserve to buy. So that's my opinion. Me and Marianne agree that what good, okay, CA, RP, Tony, Ron, Jana, CA. I mean, there's a lot of initials on here today. Justin, Jeremy, Linda, all of it. You know what? I'm not going to keep mentioning names. It's about the same ones that's been on the whole show. But, what good, Jana, is it going to do if you get $15 million? If from your one money or your Doge money, whatever, you get X amount of money. Let's say $15 million, and your husband gets $15 million. What good is it going to do you if you don't have health? It's not going to do you a bit of good. It's not going to do you a bit of good because you need your health. So let's get everybody healthy and go from there. If they want to get, why can't they say, okay, we're going to get everybody healthy. So what we're going to do is we have this Doge money here, and we're going to give everybody $100,000. Your first month installment. But remember when they told us they was going to give us $100,000 a month for 13 years. My question is why? If we're going to get on these special beds, if we're going to live many, 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 many years, now $100,000 is 1.2 a year. So times 13 years is, I think it comes like 15 million, 15.6 million, something like that. And if you're married, it's going to be double. Believe me, Patriot Diane with 2 N's lets me know that they're going to get double that because she has her and her husband. And I laugh every time she tells me, so I'm going to get more than you. And then I crack some joke and she goes, I don't even know why I tried. But anyway, let's give people $100,000 for a month. Let's get them healthy. What if it takes everybody in the world 6 months? Give them $100,000 the first month, $100,000 the second month, $100,000 the third month, but then go to like $25,000 a month. Because look at how many more years you could go. Look at how many more years you could go. $25,000 a month, $300,000 a year. I think you could live pretty good on that if you have a nice house, a nice car. And you got to remember, with this nice house and nice car, do you want to build a brand new? Do you have something in your head, in your mind that you want? It's got to be built? Or is there something out there that someone else who don't know what we know, they'll say, oh man, you're going to give me this? You're going to give me $30 million, me and my wife? We're going to go build this house here. And they're going to sell you their $2 million house. The difference is, if you build that $2 million house like theirs, it's going to cost you a lot of money on taxes. If you wait, it's not going to cost you. And you buy someone else's, it's not going to cost you any money on taxes. What kind of house do you want? Me? I want one that's got a master bedroom for me and this woman that I will be bringing over from the Ukraine. I want a bedroom for each one of my grandkids and maybe another bedroom so if someone wants to visit and stay the night. And I'm sure that one of my grandkids wouldn't mind sleeping on the sofa or on the carpet or whatever. But what I'm saying, you have a party and people drink a little bit too much, celebrate a little bit too much.
You know where that dairy farm is.
What?
RP wants to know.
RP, you want to know where the berry farm is? It is just outside of Essex, Illinois, on the Essex Blacktop, about 8 miles from where I live. Where do you live? I mean, you want to come over? I'll go pick berries with you. Yeah, they're amazing. Now I've heard that just a little bit from there, they've opened a winery that you can go and actually have tasters of wine in our area. I didn't know we had that. But anyway, what I'm saying is, let's get our health, let's get some money, and then let's do everything. But they're going to do everything. I'm going to be honest with you. They're going to do everything but backwards. They're going to do everything just but backwards. So we have to worry but we don't have to worry. So I wanted to talk about that. Something else I want to talk about is something that happened to me yesterday. When I come on this show, I like to smile. I like to have fun. I like to talk. Hi, Bill. Good to see you here. You know, the one thing I'll say about you, RP, I'm glad every time I look at your name, I'm really glad that there's not your middle initial is an I. I hope someone got the joke and laughed. Michael James. You any relation to Jesse? But anyway, you know, guys know I like to have fun. Well, there's a gentleman who has um, a presence on Telegram. His name is Mike Barrow. Seems like a pretty nice guy, and maybe just a little bit liking himself when he does lives, when he has his wife and other people there. He knows a lot, but he has a Telegram channel, one that you can actually go in and join in the conversations. And I did. I was really enjoying it. I was getting a lot of information from the shows. For the shows, I was really enjoying it. And yesterday I was on, and I go on and jokingly I said, "Well, has anybody heard from Bruce in the big call tonight or today? Is he got the 800 number?" Because Bruce is consistently telling everybody he's going to be the first one to get the 800 number. Is he going to announce it? And if he does get it, is he going to announce it and let people know? Is he going to make us sit through the headaches of Sue and Bob? And you want to talk about two chatty Cathys last night? They was on until 27 minutes, an hour and 27 minutes together. And then Bruce was on for 9 minutes and a half. But I was just joking about that because if you go back, guys, if you're listening to me here, if you go back to Tuesday night's big and a Bruce call, or Bruce and a big call, me and Marianne like to call it Bruce and a small call, or the tiny call, because let's face it, his call anymore, he's never on. If he's on for 15 minutes, that's a long, long call. But yet the call lasts every night an hour and a half at least, because they got to sell and make that money. And I wanted to say that, make that money, because see, then the conversation turned to Mark Z. And I said, I'm not a big fan. I used to be. I think Mark comes out with some information every now and then, but I'm not a big fan. And someone said, why Patriot Vibe? And I said, well, I go back to when Mark first came on. Ron over here, Patriot 6, he got me watching, especially on Fridays when Mr. C was on. And I said, I go back to him there, and I'm telling you, Mark's clothes that he used to wear, he had some stones, man, to wear stuff like that. He just didn't have no money. He's handicapped. He's in a wheelchair. And then he started doing some shows, and he said, I got a special guest on today. And every time he'd have a special guest, all the special guest was someone with a program trying to get you to join the program under him. But he was going to place everybody under Mark, because he was going to build his program using us under Mark to make money. And you know, the hat says anybody using people to get money out of them will be dealt with when this is all said and done. But I watched Mark, you know, me and Ron were going to send him some money to get some shirts, maybe some slacks. But as we were talking about doing it, all of a sudden one show, he tells it that somebody just sent him like 5 or 6 T-shirts. Then people was always sending him T-shirts or sweatshirts or nice clothes. And then you started looking and behind Mark on his calls, they weren't bare walls anymore. There's beautiful figurines and plaques and stuff, and stuff that costs money. But then you started noticing also And I used to get on and I used to ask Mark questions because I'm like you guys here. I like to chat. And when I'm on someone else's, I like to join into the chat. And I would do that. And Mark would answer my question. We started to build a little bit of a rapport, me and him. Then all of a sudden I go in there one day and I noticed, and I'm just going to pick up Tony here. I see Tony's name, or Janet. Tony and Janet. I noticed Tony and Janet on the show, and I'm ab-libbing here, guys. And Tony asked a question, but as he's asking a question, there's a cha-ching $10 donation from Tony, and I'm asking a question, and Bill Woods is asking a question, and the only one that got answered was the cha-ching. And then maybe Janet asked a question, and cha-ching, a donation. And Janet's question got asked. And it didn't take me long to realize if you don't cha-ching him, if you don't give him money, you don't get your questions answered. And I just made a statement on Barra's channel yesterday. I don't believe in that. I don't believe you should have to pay money to get your questions answered. Now, Janet may ask me a question, and my question would be back to her, why are you asking me? Because you know more than I do. I know this stuff, guys, because you get me the information. I do know more than I act like I know. But what I'm saying is I don't believe in the way Mark does it. And that's all I was saying. Oh, they started cussing me. I'm cussing me in the chat. One guy told me, but he didn't say it to me, but I knew who he meant it to. And he goes, GTFO, get the, you know what, out. And then at the bottom he puts, amen. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, did he just tell God to get, out? And I didn't say anything. And all of a sudden people, they ripped him. Now this man says this, and he said, no, I was saying it to Patriots 5. I wasn't saying it to God. And people saying, well, then why didn't you say Patriot 5, that? And why would you even say that? This isn't your channel. He's done nothing wrong but express his opinion. Well, I said, guys, I won't mention Mark no more. If I offended some people, I'm apologetic, and I won't say no more. Then about 5 minutes later, some lady comes on and jumps all over me again. And I said, ma'am, we're not talking about Mark no more. Right now, we're talking about XRP. And we're talking about Bruce's call tonight. And for those of you that were smart enough to buy XRP, it's at $3.52 right now. Now, it wasn't long ago. It was at $2.02. I know because I know somebody who is a millionaire that I said you should go out and buy 1 million shares of them. It'd cost you a little over $2 million. And they told me that their financial people and their banking didn't believe in me and didn't know what I was talking about. So they're going to pass. So I made sure that last night I took a picture of where it was when it was $3.56 or 57 cents, the highest it got. Now, had they did this 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, and spent that $2 million, it would have been, at that point, it would have been worth $3.57 million. I says, I don't want you to really care about this because you're so rich anyway, it don't matter. But you should show your financial people and your attorneys that when someone comes to you, they should at least look at it. And then I sent them all the projections for what XRP is going to do. I don't know, the person might still be crying because they didn't get in on it. If I had their money, I'd still go buy 1 million shares. But it is what it is, and that's what we have to live with, guys. But anyway, to finish the story about Mike Barra, we're talking about XRP. We're talking about Bruce, and I wasn't saying anything about Bruce because any people I'm not going to say anything about like that. But the XRP, I was saying, man, hi, Papa G. I hope you guys got involved in this. Tony, good to see you. But anyway, I went off the site for about 10 or 15 minutes. I was sitting there talking to Ron. I said, well, I'm going to go see what XRP's doing. And then I'm going to go back on Mike Barra's site, and then I'm going to go home. Just want to tell the people what they're doing. I told them I'd bring it on one more time before I got off. And I go to go on the site, and it says, you cannot go on this site. You have been kicked out of it. They banned me from the site. So to make matters stupider, I come into Messenger where we got our Messenger thing, and I come into Messenger, and Mike Barra was in there in my Messenger. So I sent him a message. He never responded. But you know what? I don't care. I don't want back in his site. Here, we've had some people over here in chat that have not agreed with me. I've had people in chat in Telegram on our site that they don't agree with me. And they say something. When I say something, I would click on their name. I would go to their Telegram, and I would just talk to them, and we'd work everything out. And the guy who kicked me out, that's all he had to do was say, hey, maybe you don't know the rules here, but this is the same people that on Tuesday night was wanting to take Bruce and literally lynch him because, why didn't Bruce tell everybody? He knew at the beginning of the show he didn't have the 800 number. Why didn't he tell us then? But it is what it is, like I said, guys, and I don't let little things like that bother me. So I wanted to read this. Breaking news.
Janet finally made it.
Who?
Janet.
Oh, Janet, you finally made it. Good to see you here, sweetie. Breaking news, Hershey is reportedly removing all artificial ingredients and food dyes from their products. And when you talk about products, food, and things like that, I was watching a video today that the hat is throwing away 5 tons of food. And the cabal, the Dems, the rats, whatever you want to call them, they're up in arms. How can you, with people starving, how can you throw this food away? How can you? And he says, well, because we're reproducing it. Plus, most of this food is so out of date, it would probably make people sick. Here's a man trying to keep people, and he says, and we're going to work on the people who are homeless and hungry to make sure people got food. So there is good news for Bears fans. They signed their wide receiver today to a contract. This is something, I think I've read this already, but I'll read it again. Oh, this is a little bit different one. It's actually a video, and it states by the hat. I think I said his name. I'm sorry. I apologize. Please don't get mad at me. Hey, Russ is here. Papa G, I think I've said hi to you. But supposedly, before or on August 1st, everyone in the United States is going to be very wealthy. I think it's everyone in the world, but I know it's in the United States.
Papa G says Mark Bear is Mark C drinking buddy.
I can believe it. Yes, I got to get back here. Okay. I got to blow this up a little bit. Now, maybe I don't. Property tax under the big N. Under the big N, property tax is expected to be abolished as part of a broader overhaul of the U.S. tax system. The proposal suggests replacing all current taxes, including property taxes, with single 14% sales tax on non-essential goods and services. This means that essentials like food, housing, and medicine would remain untaxed, while luxury items and non-essential imports would be subject to sales tax. This reform aims to simplify the tax system and reduce the financial burden on individuals by limiting various forms of taxation, including income and property tax. And we've talked a lot about that. But when the hat is talking about that and then saying on August 1st, and here's something, when I was talking to someone about this, and the person asked to be anonymous, he didn't want me to know, want people to know. He said I could talk to you guys about it, but not use their name. When I was talking to them, they says, you know, how can you keep hating a man that is doing nothing but trying to make everything better? Is he getting everything done like he promised? No, he's not. He's not what we can see. But from what I'm hearing, he's getting everything done. And I've been asked this question, guys, a lot here lately. I've been asked the question, 4th of July, if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't start, what are you going to do? I'm going to get up to 5th. I'm going to start my day just like I always do. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. See, because I made a promise to God that come blank or high water, I'm going to be here till the end. As long as he keeps his promise to me that I'm going to be here till the end. And many, 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 many years after. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I says to him, they said to me, do you love kids? And I said, oh God, yes. And I said, I'm going to work with kids. And I said, and I tell them a story about what I want to do with kids. You know, I do it. Sarita probably does it. Bill probably does it. Papa G, everybody probably does it. We want money. We want money. People say money is the root of all evil. The people who say that are the people who maybe are well off, but not well off. And they're talking to the very, very rich people, you know, the entertainers, you know, which a bunch of them's going, as Johnny Cash says, down, down, down into that ring of fire. And it is true, guys. But when have you ever heard Bill Woods, Papa G, Janet, when have you ever heard a poor person, a person who doesn't have a home, a person who has a home but still struggles to put food in it for their family? When have you ever heard them say, money is the root of all evil? What is the root of all evil is the people for all these years. And I'm not going to say what I am. If I'm a Democrat or a Republican, I'm a patriot. But there's two parties. One says I can at the end. One says I'm a rat at the end. The ones that says they're a rat at the end, they have been running it for so long. But whenever the ones that say I can is in there, we flourish and flourish and flourish. But you have these people who will not open their eyes. You know, how can a mom and dad teach their kids what's right? How this guy I talked to today about this hat, he doesn't like this guy and he doesn't like this country anymore. But did you like it 4 years ago? Oh, yeah. Same guy was running it. No, he wasn't. I said, oh, yeah. Same guy was running it. No. And he tells me who was running it. I thought, dude, that man died in 2019. You don't know what you're talking about. My grandson, he steps up and he says, that's where you're wrong. My papa knows what he's talking about. He says, do you study it every day? Do you have a lot of people sending you information about things every day? He says, he looks at this man and says, sometimes I feel sorry for my papa because He don't have time to play catch with me because he's reading or watching everything everybody's sending him. So if you don't like, he just looked at him and said, if you don't like it in our country, he'll drive you. He'll take you to the airport. And when he gets the money, he'll even buy your ticket and buy you a place to live in another country. But you got to promise you're not coming back. You do know that one lady, O'Donnell, what is it? Rosemary or Rosie? You know, she left. She went somewhere. That country has been in constant contact with a hat every day. You name it. We'll give you anything you want to take her back. You know, that's just a joke. But I have heard that. Wow. Victorious Moon. Victorious Moon. Are you new? Victorious Moon? Are you new? Are you a man? You're a lady? We're just trying to, when I see someone come on, I try to get to know them. Is that you telling me who she is, Papa G? Hello, Moon. Patriot Moon. Okay, you've been watching. Okay. Well, congratulations for coming in here. I hope you like what you hear. You're a woman, 69. Ooh. I was watching a comedian show the other night, and a woman in the crowd said she was 69, and that comedian had a lot of fun. He was pretty good. Matt Riff, I think his name is. If you guys ever get a chance to watch him, I believe his name is Matt R-I-F-E. If you ever get a chance to watch him, he's hilarious. And you know, guys, we need to get away and watch something like that on YouTube or something like that because you know, it's amazing because he can come on YouTube and he can do all these live shows and he can do this and he can do that. And man, he uses, don't let the kids watch it. But see, he doesn't have a show. He picks people out of the crowd and he makes his show with the people in the first 4, 5, 6 rows. And I really like it. I remember going to a comedy club once, bald as I am, but I was wearing a hairpiece.
Oh,
what's up?
Moon lady is Russ Kruger's friend.
Okay. Yeah, I seen Russ say, was it you, Russ, that said Patriot Moon grew up close to you, or was it someone else? Well, welcome to the show, sweetie. We hope you like it. We hope you come back for a couple more. And I only say a couple more, not because I don't want you back forever, but I hope we're winding down. As a matter of fact, I hope that the next call we have is a celebration call. So why don't we get into that? Where are we at? Well, according to Bruce, that he was supposed to get the number again last night. And I'm just the messenger guy. Don't shoot me. According to Bruce, we were supposed to get the number last night, but we did not. I do have some good news. I talked to Patriot Diane yesterday. She was the lady I told you about on the last call where she had that thing and she had something paid off. Well, it was paid off for 6 days, and then all of a sudden it's not paid off no more. But when she called her bank where she's got the loan, she didn't realize that bank was located on her car. She didn't realize it was located in New York, and she didn't realize it was a tier 1 bank that we will be using. When she found out what it was and everything, she started talking to the head man, you know, the guy that we're supposed to talk to. I can't think of the name right now.
The president of the bank?
No, the something manager. But anyway, she was talking to him and she said something. Said, "Really like to talk to you about some things." She said, "What?" She said, "You're going to take foreign currency." He said, "Not yet, but very, very soon." And she said, "How soon?" He said, "Very soon." "Do you have currency in there?" And he said, "Yes, we do." "What's the holdup?" "Well, we're waiting on 1 or 2 more little things. 1 or 2 more little." And she talked to me, telling me, and I was really, really hoping and praying that maybe I could have got her to come on and call and I could call her and she could tell everybody what he said. You know, I really wish she would have did it, but I knew if I'd asked her, she'd have said no. So, and then I did the show early today, so it wouldn't have mattered. She probably wouldn't have been ready. But I truthfully believe that I'm not saying Bruce is going to get the number. Bruce went on to talk about a lot of things. He's talking about the special beds and he's talking about things and the whole thing is, guys, what Bruce and his group is selling. Now, I don't sell products, but see, here's my feelings about the products. Bob sells products every night. They make money every night. Sue sells her programs every night. They make money every night. But the programs that Sue sells, we put together a program, and I don't even know where it's at. I don't even know if I have it anymore. I know a lot of you people, a lot of the people that's in my group had them. I think I sent out to about 100 people. And we just put a program together, what we think you need to go to the Redemption Center. And if I'm not too busy this weekend, and I shouldn't be, I'm actually thinking about getting in and doing a condensed version. Because the version I have, I've got what I'm going to do. I have 5 different projects right now that I'm looking into doing. And I'm talking to a lot of people. And well, one of the projects really isn't a project. I just want to give a lot of money every year to improving the special beds. You can't say that over there, Ron, because then I say it and I'm gonna get in trouble. But I don't want to do that. And another one is I wanted to donate money to St. Jude's, but I don't think there's going to be a need for St. Jude's. But as long as they can show me that the money that I do donate to them until they're shut down, because there's going to be special beds put in there, all the children will get on these things and they'll be, I like to say I'll be home for Christmas. They'll be very, very healthy by Christmas. And, to just beat Big Pharma. And I wasn't impressed with Bruce's call last night. And I seen someone on here said Bruce is, he says the same thing. Yeah, he does. And when I listened to the call with Mary Ann, and she's giving me play-by-play and that, me and her are typing back and forth. We're talking back and forth, and we're trying to figure out what he's going to say next. And most of the time, we've got it down pat. I mean, he was going and going and going last night, and I said, Mary Ann, within the next 2 things he says, one of them will be, I'll start to promote Sue's products again, and he did. And guys, I think Bruce is a very, very good guy. I really do. I think he's a very nice man. I don't know why he would be chosen to give the 800 numbers, unless it's for the fact that he has thousands and thousands and thousands of followers. And even if they don't follow him on the shows and that, I think a lot of people's went in and just put their email addresses in so they will get the 800 number. Now, I know when Ron gets access to his call, he sends it out to a lot of people. And I want to tell you, when someone does that, what? What?
Everybody can join Patriot 5.
Right. We also got Patriot 5, Patriot 6, Messenger that anyone can join. We have the Messenger, the channel on Telegram. What's funny about Telegram? As I started, I think we got 51 or 52 people that follow Ron there. But what's funny is we used to have a group of people, a few women and 2 guys, and they followed us. And one day they come on with this guy. They're gonna talk to us about this guy. His name's the Wizard. The Wizard. Okay. And it was actually the young girl that actually got the courage to approach him. And then they're coming to me and I'm thinking this is someone special. And I look at his following, you have nowhere near what I had. Back then I had a lot more than we got now. And I'm satisfied with what we got now. But you have nowhere near. Now he's got thousands and thousands. Because he literally went from like 700 followers. Came on our show, talked on our show a couple of times. And boom, he went up 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 followers on Telegram. That's the only place I know he's at. And I'm happy for him. But then when this man that used to follow me, that was one of my moderators, he decided to quit. Well, I think I kind of booted him out because of the things he did. And the people who's been with me for a long time, you know what he did. And I don't want to go into discussions of that because it's water under the bridge. No, Larry, I had not heard. You're saying Myrna told you that the bonds people had been paid last night? I didn't hear that.
I told you that.
Oh, Ron said he told me that. I must not have been paying attention. Sometimes I don't hear what everybody tells me because when it comes to paying attention, I'm just too poor to. So.
But they're keeping it hush hush.
Oh, Ron says they're keeping it hush hush. Well, how are we getting it to know?
Somebody's in hush hush.
If you watched it yesterday, Moon, it would have been a replay. Normally I'm on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Central. But today I did some things with my grandkids and my kids, and then my grandkids and my daughter, 3 of my grandkids and my daughter are leaving tomorrow for Alabama. And we started a tradition when they started going on vacations that I would go over there, hang out with them for just a little bit. And I'm not going to hang out very long because, quite frankly, the sun got to me today. And I'm going to go over, say goodnight, say goodbye to them. And then I will go over there for the next 7 days and help take care of their 2 little puppies. But normally we're on at 7 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm glad you could make it. And like I said, guys, there's really not a lot going on. Mark Z even said that. Now, the one thing that was very cool to me and very promising to me and even to Ron was Mr. C said yesterday, he was on yesterday. I don't know if he was on today, but he said yesterday that he usually doesn't say stuff like this, but he said, we are super, super close. Oh, you told Myrna from Chaz McFadden on Hamilton Radio. Okay, so they're saying that the bonds people have been paid. Okay, thank you.
Get your popcorn ready, Dave.
Bill Woods just said what I said earlier, that the hat said August 1st. If you're a United States citizen, you're going to be very happy. Yes, we'll see.
I told you that 3 days ago.
Well, I've known it for longer than that, but I'm saying Bill Woods just said it. Well, where do you live in Alabama? They're going to Gulf Shores. I've run out of things to say, guys. So I'm going to call it a day.
A week.
A week. I'm going to call it a week.
Unless something happens.
We may be on tomorrow. We may be on Sunday. There's more than just Bruce is saying that they think that we could get the 800 number sometime late this afternoon, early tomorrow morning. And as soon as I get my appointment, we will come on. We will We will discuss the 800 numbers. We will discuss what we can do, what we can't do, what we can say, what we can't say. And that is unless when I book my appointment, they put me under an NDA right then. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here. We're going to get through this. I'm hoping to continue to do shows even after we all get the money. I think maybe it might be wise if we take a few days off just to get ourselves back on planet Earth. This is our time. I believe we're super duper close. And if a turtle can beat a rabbit in a race, then we sure the heck can beat the bad party, the rats, when we know we can. Somerville, my daughter was talking about Somerville today because to me, when I hear Somerville, I think I'm a big Superman fan, and I think of Smallville. God wins, yes, Janet. That's a great way to end it. A great way to end it. I am going to say a prayer to end it tonight, guys. If you want to stay on and listen, you can. If you don't have to. But there's a lot of people in need of prayer. Dear Lord, as we come to the end of this week, we're hoping that our next call is a celebration call. We're coming to you. We've been very loyal, very loving, very caring. We've done everything you've asked. And we come to you, Lord, but still we go through so much agony and pain. And Stephanie Strout, her husband, is going through some rough times. As you know, Stephanie is an amazing, amazing woman. We all love her. And I'm asking you to put an angel on her husband's shoulder and one on her shoulder and help them through this. Keep this young man healthy enough so when these beds come, he can get on them. And Lord, I'm asking you for everyone who is on this show, everyone that needs your help, to be there for them. You've always wanted to have heaven on earth, and I truthfully believe we are on the right path to get us there. When all this happens, will it get us there, Lord? No, but it'll get us close and on the right path, and you have the right leaders in charge to get us to heaven on earth. And I ask you, Lord, to look after every child. Find every child who's ever been abducted, who's ever been taken away from their parents, and bring them home. And whether or not you can find their real parents, or will do, and you know how I want to work so hard to make sure every child has a parent or the whole family. And Lord, just look after us all, take care of us all. And as my daughter, my son-in-law, and my 3 grandchildren get ready to leave on their vacation with my niece and my nephew, please grant them safe travel to go down there, to have a little fun, but to come back early so we can get all of this started when we go in to the blackout. And I come to you and pray to you, Lord, through my Savior, your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. Okay, guys, that's it. We'll talk to you later. Have a great, great Friday, a great weekend, and goodbye. Thank you for showing up.